I was a little nervous today. This feels like a really big deal. I do public speaking a lot for work stuff, but my daddy was a preacher, so speaking to a church is not something I've done since I was a little girl, and I was really nervous about coming here. So I washi-taped the back of the last card because when I'm nervous, I craft, and this made me feel better about talking to you today. So I have note cards, clearly, so I don't read this off a piece of paper. Will you show the picture? Yeah, that one. Did anyone see that? A couple of people. When this post went crazy, the question that I got over and over from press was, what was your intention? Why were you posting this picture? What were you trying to do? And the truth is, I theme my Instagram every month to a color, and March was orange. And so I had this super cute bikini top, and I'm Southern, so I love a monogram. And so it had the monogram, and it was orange, and I was like, oh my gosh, my Instagram followers are going to dig this. I'm gonna post this picture. So my husband had to speak at something down in Cancun, such a hardship, and I went with him. We got a weekend away from the boys, and nothing ahead of us but, the bikini and the pool. So I said, hey, Dave, will you go down to the beach with me, and will you take a picture? And I am nobody's model. So I don't know about y'all, but when I go to take a picture for social media, I sort of have someone take 173 pictures. We're going to find one. But then I just stand awkwardly for 5 minutes, and it's terrible. And that is made so much worse when you're in a bikini. So we took 173 bad pictures, and the picture I posted was actually myself laughing because I felt really silly. And I was like, okay, this'll work. This is the part where I start throwing cards like David Letterman. So we took this, Dave took this picture, and the first thing I see is my stretch marks. As women, we sort of zoom in on those parts of ourselves that we don't think are that great. And so I thought, I'm going to zoom in on this picture. I'm going to do one of these little pinch maneuvers, and we're going to get, high and tight on just the bikini top, and you're not going to see what's going on down here. As I was looking at it, I thought, gosh, I've never seen a woman that I know post a picture of herself with stretch marks from a place of pride. So I was like, I'm just going to leave it in. I have a lot of my followers are moms. I have a lot of girlfriends who follow me, so I'm going to just leave it in, and they're totally going to get a kick out of this. So this is what I wrote under the picture. I have stretch marks, and I wear a bikini. I have a belly that's permanently flabby from carrying 3 giant babies, and I wear a bikini. My belly button is saggy, which is something I didn't even know was possible before kids, and I wear a bikini. I wear a bikini because I'm proud of this body and every mark on it. Those marks prove that I was blessed enough to carry my babies, and that flabby tummy means I worked hard to lose what weight I could. I wear a bikini because the only man whose opinion matters knows what I went through to look this way. That same man says he's never seen anything sexier than my body, marks and all. They aren't scars, ladies. They're stripes, and you've earned them. Flaunt that body with pride. Thanks. So I post the picture, and my Instagram is connected to, Katie said I run a lifestyle website called The Chic Site, and it's connected to The Chic Site's Facebook page. So, like always, I post it, and then I go check to make sure technology's still working. This will be the one time it doesn't work. I go over and I check Facebook, and it's been 3 minutes, and it has 100 likes, which was already, I post stuff all the time that gets 5 likes, so I was like, wow, 100 likes, this is madness. And then it was 200, and then it was 2,000 in less than an hour. And I run a site, so a big part of the site is social media, and we post at least 10 pictures a day. Now, not all of them have my weird sad face belly button happening, but it's a lot of photos, and a combined week's worth wouldn't be 2,000. So we were like, this is crazy. This is the craziest thing that's ever happened. Because of this picture, we added 60,000 new fans on Facebook in a week. The post, as of right now, has been seen by 20 million people. It has 500,000 likes. It's been shared 60,000 plus times. It has 50,000 comments. And all of that really quickly together in the span of a couple of weeks. And what was so amazing about that to watch, besides it being overwhelming, which it was, because if you work for years to have a lifestyle site and you hope that something's going to take off, you probably don't think it's going to be that. Everyone's like, what does your husband think? And I'm like, well, he's not talking to me right now. It's fine. It's totally fine. He is. He was very proud. But what was so amazing was that almost immediately, I mean, within an hour, women were commenting on this picture on Facebook with their own stretch marks. They ran into the bathroom, they lifted up their shirt, they took a picture, they were posting photos of themselves on vacation, and even more interesting was that it wasn't just women, and it wasn't just stretch marks. It was, oh, the Lord liked that comment. It was men, it was veterans talking about having lost limbs in war. It was people who had gone through multiple surgeries for cancer. It was people who had been burned as children and carried burn marks on most of their body. And suddenly people were picking up the torch of this idea that you had earned your stripes and running with it. What I was so amazed by and so humbled by was that people were saying, I love my body right now as is. Not when I lose 10 pounds, not what I looked like 15 years ago, but right now, today, this is my body and I'm thankful for it. And I see that and I think, why wouldn't you be thankful? Every mark on our body, every scar or burn, even stretch marks, are a sign that we have lived through something and come out the other side of it stronger. Those marks on your body are a sign that you are a warrior, and that is something to be proud of. That is not something that we cover up. That is something that we should be celebrating instead of hiding behind a sarong. By representing the real you, by being honest about who you are on the inside, on the outside, you give permission to the other women around you to do the same. Sometimes we do the opposite, though, right? Maybe a lot of times we do the opposite, and I am guilty of this. Working so hard to appear to have it all together. I've got it all together, I look perfect, my family's perfect, we're all great. That you don't notice that the women around you are drowning because you can't hear them because you're so focused on your own life. Or you spend so much time trying to have a Facebook perfect life. You know what I'm talking about? It's exactly what they were saying earlier, the mom who's screaming at her kids and then they take the picture and it's all perfect. You spend so much time doing that that nobody knows that you can't keep your head above water. Or you are going out of your way to show only the best side of yourself, and nobody knows that this is the worst your life has ever been. You come to something like this, and you're surrounded by women who could be your tribe, who could be your peers, but you're too afraid to talk about your own truth and who you really are, and you leave feeling more alone than you ever have. Am I the only one? Anyone else? Do you know what a facade is? An outward appearance that is maintained to conceal a less than pleasant reality. How many of us maintain the perfect facade because we believe that is what life is supposed to look like? We believe that is what we are supposed to look like. We've been shown image after image of what we are supposed to aspire to be. If only I had six-pack abs. If only I had great hair. If only I had white teeth. If only I had legs for days. If only I didn't have that weird saggy underarm thing that like you're waving and your underarm keeps saying goodbye long after your hands stop moving, right? If only I didn't have a belly button that's like in a permanent scowl as if it's upset about all of my life choices. What's scary about the image of what you should look like in magazines and media is the implication that you need to change something about the way you look in order to be happy. It's the idea that something outside ourselves can make us happy. It is one of the greatest lies that the world tells women. Because here's the truth. You will never find validation outside yourself, because a broken world cannot make you whole. A few months ago, Pastor Albert gave a sermon, truly one of the most powerful moments in my life. Everybody got a red note card. Raise your hand if you were there for the day that we talked about lies. So good. So everyone got a red note card when you came into church, and the pastor asked us to write down what are the lies that we tell ourselves that we've come to accept as truths. And those lies keep us from having a closer walk with Christ. My lie that I wrote down, which I hadn't even told my husband until I read him my notes last night, was that praise or success or accolades or more fans on Facebook or more visitors to my website will validate me as a person. I grew up in a house where for most of my childhood my parents' marriage was in trouble. I was the baby of 4 children, and to be totally honest, a lot of times I was just forgotten, except when I did something good. So if I got a part in the school play, if I got an A on a test, if I made the soccer team, then I got praise. What this does to a little girl is teach her that the only way she can be loved is to keep producing. What this does to an adult woman is make her a workaholic. Being a workaholic means that I take time away from my husband and my 3 boys. It means that I have worked through more weekends than I care to count. It means that I don't have time for prayer or reflection. It means that I never rest, because no matter what I do, it's not enough. No matter what I achieve, it's not enough. Any success I have, I'm immediately racing on to the next thing. I have a to-do list that's so loud. And God He's tapping me on the shoulder, and He's nudging me, and He's calling my name, and that to-do list is so loud in my head that I can't even hear Him when He's yelling. Years of therapy. And writing it down on that little red card in church that day made me finally understand the lie for what it was. And the dangerous part about a lie is that we can find a good excuse, right? So for me, I think this site is my testimony. It is a gift from God. It is my platform, and I use it to speak His word and speak His truth into the world. So it's okay, God, because I'm doing this on your behalf. You know, I can make the excuses all day long. But the thing is, reading that sentence made me realize that nothing outside myself can validate me, because I cannot be made whole by a broken world. Nothing in this world can fill up an emptiness in me. Nothing of this world can fill up an emptiness in you. Can we show the scripture? This is Ephesians. I'm going to read it off my notes, so it might be a little bit different. Ephesians 3:17 says, "So that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may have strength to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and length and height and depth, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with the fullness of God." Ladies, You can work out until you look like a Victoria's Secret model. And you can watch a million YouTube tutorials about how to get perfect hair. And you can know all the right brushes to get a smoky eye. And you can have the right makeup and the right clothes and a perfect manicure. And you can be the most gorgeous person in this room or any other. But if you don't have a love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, it's pretty wrapping paper around an empty box. Gosh, I was hoping I was going to get one of those. I was like, let it. Man, Pastor Alfred gets that like 80 times a sermon. I was like, let me just get one, Lord. Okay, great. Well, that was my bucket list. I am not implying that you stop trying. I love the idea of growth. I love growing in your faith. I love learning a new language. I love the idea of becoming a better sister, wife, mother, friend. But I don't love a beauty industry that is built on the idea that you need to fix something, that who you are right now is somehow wrong. After my first baby, I decided to go visit a trainer for the first time, which is horrible. And I'm going to, hopefully, the sound of me drinking this water is going to be on the mic. It'll be awesome. It's a cool sound effect. So I got a trainer. We'll call her Gretchen. And Gretchen was just a battle axe of a woman. She had like her arms were like more muscular than my legs. And she relished putting you through pain. She loved like burpees and mountain climbers, so she was clearly in league with the devil. And at the time, I was going through a really bad breakup with Carl's Jr. And, I know, no idols before you, Lord, but their chicken strips it's awesome. Anyway, neither here nor there. So I was going through a really bad breakup, as I mentioned, and I was struggling with food. And you can work out all day long, but if you're still eating the left side of the extra value meal, you're probably, something's off. So I was struggling with it, and Gretchen said to me one day, it went in your head, give her a German accent. She wasn't German, but it'll help with the story. She said, would you ever feed a child the way you feed yourself? Which just, by the way, we should all just think about that for a minute. Would you ever feed a child the way you feed yourself? And I was thinking about this in regards to the idea that we need to fix something about ourselves, that the grace that we give our children is something that we often don't give ourselves. My two oldest boys are 6 and 8, and they take piano lessons. And every time they get a new song, they're like, it's like murder, like a cat is dying on the piano keys. And it's terrible. But as a parent, you're like, yeah, buddy, you've got that. That is awesome. You've got this. You cheer just as loudly for the work in progress as you do for the finished piece. And I was thinking about this with God. Because God is up there, and he's like, yeah, girl, you've got this. This is awesome. And yes, you are growing into someone new and more beautiful and all of these things, but right now, who you are right now is awesome. And we give this grace to our children. Why don't we give this grace to ourselves? I already did that one, sorry. That one too, look at me, I'm way ahead. There is nothing wrong, I just want to make sure and say this, there is nothing wrong with some good hair and good makeup. Because I am Southern, and I love a fake lash like you wouldn't believe. I love good hair. I didn't do this to my hair. I don't know how to make my hair look like this, but I understand that one of God's greatest gifts is Dry Bar. So it's, if you love good hair and good makeup and good for you, girl, you're awesome. And if you dislike, if you wear no makeup and your hair's in a bun, that's awesome too. But the beauty industry as a whole, and media and magazines, is based on the idea that to become beautiful, you need to work on the outside of yourself. Becoming beautiful is about working on the inside of yourself. Looking one way or the other will not, cannot fulfill you. True beauty, real beauty, is real. Will you show the most beautiful picture of me ever taken, Nancy? So, I had Bell's palsy. I've had it twice. I wrote a post about this on the site a few years ago. This particular picture was taken on our very first trip to Europe, which is exactly when you want to get facial paralysis, by the way. Me using my English to Italian guidebook to translate to the Italian pharmacist that I needed an eye patch, still one of the most amazing experiences ever. Bell's palsy, if you don't know, is you could literally draw a line down the center of your face and half of your face is paralyzed. Plus side, amazing Sammy Davis Jr. impersonation. Downside, it sucks to have facial paralysis. And when I decided to write a post and I put it up on the site, my publicist at the time called me and was like, you have to take this picture down. You cannot have pretty pictures of yourself when you're trying to do this thing and that on the internet. To this day, I have received 307 emails, because I counted, from women saying, I have this too. Thank you so much for writing this post. I couldn't find any information about it on the internet. I showed this picture tonight. We were going through the tech tonight, and my new best friend in the back, whose name I can't remember, I'm sorry though you're lovely, said, I had Bell's palsy too. And this is what real beauty is. When you talk about the truth, when you are authentically yourself, you give permission to other people to do the same thing. My real self isn't always easy to talk about. My real self has had postpartum. Because of postpartum, my real self has had marriage problems. I know I'm not the only one who, you have a 3-week-old and you're exhausted and you're not sleeping, and then your husband says something to the effect of how tired he is, because when you get up to get the baby, it jostles him on his cloud made of angel wings, and he wakes up and it's really bothering him because he's waking up in the night, and you're like crazy. You go Sybil, you're like laughing and crying, you have crazy eyes, and you're like, Lord Jesus, if you don't send a choir of angels to shut this man's mouth, you are going to meet him tonight, because I'm going to strangle him with the wires from my breast pump. And then you're like, you calm yourself down, but only because you're like, oh, Lord, my mama's going to have to raise this baby, and she just started an Etsy shop. She's got her hands full. Okay. My real is that I have had a boob job. Before I had kids, they weren't much, but they held up their own body weight. And after I had kids, it was like a sock filled halfway with pudding. Not even all the way, halfway. The real me had a brother who was mentally ill, who was paranoid schizophrenic, who took his own life, and left the discovery of him to me at 14. These aren't easy things to talk about. Being honest isn't easy to talk about. But when I said any one of those stories just now, some of you in the audience went, me too. Beautiful is your exact weight right now. Not your goal weight. Right now, today, what you weigh, that's beautiful. Beautiful is you with your wrinkles, and it's you with your perfect skin. Beautiful is the dimple in your cheek. Beautiful is way too many dimples in the back of my thighs. Beautiful is you with gray hair, and beautiful is you with perfect highlights. Beautiful is you with a great smile, and beautiful is you with crooked teeth. Beautiful is you with stretch marks and scars and moles and a perfect manicure, and you with dry cuticles. The Bible says you are beautifully and wonderfully made. And Lady Gaga says you're beautiful in your way because God makes no mistakes. My photo goes viral, and this is the lesson that I've learned in it. If God makes no mistakes, that means that I am, you are, we are beautiful as is. Being beautiful has nothing to do with your face and everything to do with your heart. That means that true beauty can never be shown in a viral picture and can never be put in a magazine, because true beauty is not something we can take a picture of. True beauty is what's in your heart. And if what is in your heart is the love of God, then nothing is more beautiful than that. Am I standing here? I made a mess. I'll clean it up. I'm sorry.
Guys, give it up for Rachel one more time.
Am I having to go?